Hello everyone, Reverend619, and I have been working on behind the scenes to fix my Lena the Slayer build. As some of you may know, pyromancy staffs are bugged and count as melee attacks. In fact, all Psyker staffs count as melee attacks. However, only pyromancy staff has the issue where they can be dodged and parried. So people have been asking me for a little while, how do we work around this to actually make a full ranged caster? Because for some reason people want to be pure ranged magic caster even though the game doesn't quite support it. I've kind of come up with a way to do that. Going into Arc Militant and picking up Broad Expertise and Arms Master, we can actually lower the cost of the Inferno ability from 2 AP to 1 AP, and we can drastically boost weapon skill by ballistic skill. So we can build either a shotgun area attack or a rifle burst build, and then have that pair with a solar staff by using Broad Expertise. Well, I say solar staff, any pyromancy staff, but then we can use Broad Expertise to build up our versatility, which will then buff our ballistic skill and weapon skill. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those builds, and I'm going to show them off in some combat as well too, so bring it all together and how we build it. This isn't going to be a full breakdown video like those 20-minute ones I usually do, but this is going to be sort of a quick update for how to make this possible. Now, depending on how you decided to play this, you'll either be using area attacks or you'll be using burst attacks. If you're using area attacks, you can use Relished Anguish to knock enemies back and build up quite a bit of temporary HP, which is very useful surviving. Though, like I said before, the burst weapon will do more damage in the long run. It also appears that I've put on the male voice onto my female character, but as you can see, Lena here has built up a lot of temporary health, and because of Never Stop Shooting, there's a good chance that if I give an extra turn, that then she'll be able to do quite a bit more with that. So I'll just quickly get through Camilla's turn here, and God, Blade Dance does so much. It's still, people got so bad when this got nerfed, but it really did absolutely nothing to the build overall. What's funny is all of this stuff that I'm doing the Blade Dancer, you could actually do with this build if you made it a Blade Dance yourself, but look at my Gish build for that. Anyway, coming back around to Cassia, I can then buff Lena here with Voice Command, give her some air of authority, and then we can use her to take another turn. Now, we can, if enemies are already on fire, we can use Firestorm, or if we have an extra attack, we could say ignite something and then Firestorm, because you can use Never Stop Shooting for that. At the moment, I do have a staff attack, which I can use for the staff, and then because the enemy's on fire, if they had enemies around them, I could then use a Firestorm, or I could just try to push someone else back for shotgun stuff. And because of concentrated fire, I can guarantee getting a hit. Though, like I said, I've repeated this a few times now, you would be doing more damage on the burst variant, and you will just keep building up stacks and never stop shooting. But this is going to be sort of how you're going to play this in the early game. It's going to be quite a straightforward attacker. So over on my spreadsheet, this is called the Spells and Shells. So it's the Lena's replacement for Lena the Slayer, which was what the build was originally designed around, which was a ranged pyromancy caster. And this is to work with the Psyker Staff bug. So what this does is you pick either burst weapons or area weapons, whichever you want to go to. Area weapons are easier to use in the early game, but burst weapons are just consistently stronger. The stun that you'll go into will be Fortress World, Sanctuary Psyker Pyromancer, Soldier. You'll get your ballistic skill up, your agility up, 1 point into perception, 1 point into willpower, and then at level 4 you'll either take point blank if you're going shotguns, or muzzle velocity if you're going for burst builds, and then at level 5 you'll take demolition engineer again if you're going for the area builds, but you'll take rack and ruin early if you're going for the burst. You'll then either get concentrated fire or rapid fire depending which you're going with. Then at level 8 you'll take rack and ruin if you're doing the area build, or if you've already got rack and ruin because you're doing the burst build, you'll get unfaltering fire, and then the build becomes the same for the rest of the level up process. Basically, you'll have the pyromancy staffs in secondary, so you have those range attacks, but you got to remember you won't be able to in the early game be able to target them against melee enemies because they can dodge and parry it pretty easily, which is where the shotguns and the burst rifles are going to come into play, and why we'll actually pick up quite a bit of perception in the mid game. Now, one of the interesting things is muzzle velocity will actually apply to Psyker Staff, so this will build very nicely to it. Never Stop Believing and Familiar Kickback will come into play a lot here, especially as we build willpower. Familiar Kickback will only apply to weapons, but Never Stop Shooting will apply to kills made by the melee Psyker Staff or normal powers, or even just the burst weapons. Normal powers, Psyker Staffs, and ranged weapons will all stack versatility for each other, so it'll be very strong. You'll want to use Shimmering Motion on this character, and by level 21, you'll be free to not worry about who you're targeting with your pyromancy staffs and who you're targeting with your range. You'll also use Psychic Barrage to channel that range into your powers to get even more damage out of it. And let's have a look at some of the mid-games. So this is turn 1 from a Grand Strategist against Daemon Engine, and I have just gone and done it, bring it down. I've used the stim here just so I can have some extra AP, so I can set myself up. Again, I forgot to change the mercenary's voice. Now, run and gun will give you extra attack economy, as will wildfire, so you'll be able to get quite a bit out of this. And like I said, the staff counts as a melee kill, so with Arms Master, that'll decrease the cost of your ranged attacks, and vice versa. Now, this boss can be quite troublesome because obviously whenever you attack it, it attacks back. However, some stuffs like Firestorm, once it's on fire, you notice he doesn't attack back, so we can use that to actually range kill a few things. At this point in the game, because this is around mid-level 20s, you can also get stuff like the Warp Surge Brooch. The Warp Surge Brooch, as soon as you have it on this build, your attack economy becomes insane, because both your burst area and your Psyker Staff powers, and even just your Ignites Firestorms, they all become 1 AP as you get kills. So it makes this build incredibly cost-effective and very useful for just taking out either single target or ranged AoE sort of things. So as I can see, these enemies have stacked up. If I do it here, I'll hit Abel, I'd probably kill him. But if I put it on the actual Forge Fiend, damage is exceptional and able to take out both of them, and I'm even able to then reset my run and gun, which will also lower the cost of the Inferno ability. And again, I can use that very easily with the actual Psyker Staff, and because it's a burst fire weapon, you gotta kind of think of the Fire Staff like it is a rock sword, so you can even use Malpain Shroud, Invigorating Resolve, and all that goodness, so you can use melee gear or ranged gear on this build. Firestorm is going to be incredibly useful. We do take Molten Beam on this build because it is quite fun. Later, I actually do pick up for Body of Flames, Orchestrate Flames, and Relentless Blaze because the Pyromancy Staffs do count as melee, so you can actually get a little bit out of Orchestrate Flames here. If you don't want to use Orchestrate Flames, you can just drop that and you don't have to use that, but it was just a way to squeeze in 1 extra psi rating. But it's a little gimmick that I find funny to be on fire and then shooting enemies with fire, but you don't need to build it for this build. If you do go for the Rate of Fire version, you can use stuff like Implacable Tempest. Hand of Defense will buff your Pyromancy Staff. Warp Surge Brooch will apply to everything. But the Temperos Carapace Elite Backpack with the Compensator Gloves can make your burst fires absolutely insane on this. And you can use Agility Gears if you're playing a Soldier build, and you can use Psychic Gear like the Eyes of Joyce. So I'll quickly show a setup here just to show off how insane it can be. We're going to just do Cassia's Looper buffs, and we can even use, say, the Officer Dogmatic 4 ability here. Because the Psyker itself isn't my main character, I'm going to show the buffs coming in from the allies here. But it's a very simple buff setup here. You'll see the stats going into battle, like Broad Expertise will give us a very nice bonus early, and yeah, if you want to know more about why ballistic skill is important for when it comes to burst fire's recoil and how recoil affects where the bullets go, do check the Discord, because I did explain that quite recently. So I'm just going to use Cassie here to group up some enemies. Now, Inertia Boots applies to range as well as Psyker powers, and because the staff counts as melee, then you have no problem of actually using Inertia Boots. So Inertia Boots are fantastic on this build for stacking up its movement. You can use items that increase your psi rating, like I said, like the Star Mist Scarf, or maybe even the melee ones, because they all count. But by passing over Heroic Turn, as you can see, just basic Cassia buffs and Navigator buffs. I've not gone on for Psyker buffs. I've not added in Master Tactician buffs, because you don't need it. This build is incredibly strong, even without that. Now, if you wanted to buff those, you know, throw in some Divination, throw in some Biomancy, and then throw in some Master Tactician, you do you. You could even throw in some Santic buffs. But if we just look at a Burst Fire here, so I'm just going to shoot this Chaos Marine. Yes, rate of fire currently 15 from a default base rate of fire for weapon, by the way. And this is quite early into Act 4. This is the first one I've gone to in Act 4, so you can use this quite easily. And these guns and stuff, a lot of this gear is actually from Act 3 as well. Some of it's from Act 2, so you'll have access to it very, very easily. As you can see, first staff attack did quite a bit of damage there, and now my staff attacks only cost 1 AP because of using the kill with Arms Master. And now if I get a kill on the Demon Engine here, now my burst attacks will also only cost 1 AP. Run and gun with Swift Slaughter has already come into effect with Reveling Slaughter. So, yeah, 15 AP bursts easily coming in. I've got the Firearm Mastery upgrades here, which you could use to either get 2 shots from the Inferno ability, or better yet, to get a lot of extra single shots here, which I can then use to build more versatility. So I can now do almost 20 burst fires for 1 AP, or Inferno Staffs for 1 AP. And the damage on them is going to be quite high, and you'll be able to get all your other effects into here. Yeah, muzzle velocity also applying to the staff's quite funny. Later on, you can even take Peak Condition and Destroyer, because Destroyer will apply to the Psyker Staff, so you can strip enemies' armor. So again, extra strength from Peak Condition is very viable, and then you could either go into Heavy Armor to use Psyker's Breastplate, or you can even go into Power Armor, just if you like the aesthetic, because Power Armor is viable for this build, because Strength increases your Psyker Staff attack damage. Goody goody gumdrops. But yeah, stuff like Chaos Marines, yeah, they don't stand a goddamn chance. Because of how bad the latency is caused by the burst vibes, because I'm doing so much, I am quite laggy here. It'd be more impressive if I get a better graphics card. So yeah, if anyone wants to donate money and super chat and stuff, we'll use that to get a better mic and a better graphics card for sure. But as you can see, the damage you're building up, they just keep boosting each other. The more weapon skill, the more bliss skill, the more you do. And yeah, the damage is just absolutely exquisite on this build. Hello everyone, Revan619 here. Got a little package this morning that had my YouTube name on it, so I'm assuming that it's been sent to me by something to do with YouTube. So as long as it's not Anthrax, let's open it up and see what's going on here. Ah, cute. So, by the little logoing inside the plastic bag we've got here, this is definitely from Owlcat. So, Purrs and Owls cheers. Dear friend, in the world of infinite choices, you've chosen to stand with us, and for that we are truly grateful. Whether you've turned untamed lands into a thriving realm, led the Fifth Crusade, or ventured among the stars as a rogue trader, your journey inspires us every day. With this gift, we want to celebrate your friendship and incredible contributions you make to the universe we create here at Owlcat Games. So that's very nice then. Let's see what they've sent. So, oh, very nice. They've actually made some very interesting pins for each of their games that they've got going on here. So we've got for Rue Valley, we've got Shadow of the Road on this side. We've got an Inquisitor badge. That one's actually pretty sick. At the top, I don't recognise the other two. I'd have to actually check some of their games. Oh, one's The Expanse. Actually, I do recognise that. I don't recognise the other one, but I've just seen that there's a little bit of branding behind it. So if I pull that one out, I'll be able to see what that one's going on there. That's really cute, actually. It looks like a Christmas jumper. What is this? Oh, it's like a really funky scarf that they sent in over here with a lot of patterns. It's double-sided. So you can see the Owlcat logo and a bunch of other stuff for that as well. That's really cute. Yeah, I like the scarf style banner. What is over here? That's actually really nice of them to send some stuff out. Like, I'm like... some developers. Oh, this looks like a really intricate mouse map. Oh, very, very nice. So, yeah, showing off all their projects. We've got Dark Heresy on there, The Expanse, Pathfinder, and the Owlcat Games. A little bit smaller than the space that I use, but I'm sure that we can, if not, pin it somewhere. But no, something very nice they sent us. I thought would be worth showing off as I opened it. But thank you very much, Owlcat Games. I look forward to all your new projects in the new year. Okay, bye for now.